Our next comic book is All New X-Men issue number 16, which is part 2 of Battle of the Atom. So let's see what happens in this issue. So the comic starts off back at Xavier's Secret School, which is the base of the Uncanny X-Men, and Magneto is going over the videos of what happened in the last fight. Everyone's talking out, who's sending these Sentinels, and Christopher Muse walks out of the base, and he's kind of freaking out that he just brought Scott essentially back from the grave. But Scott reassures him that, this isn't the craziest shit that's happening right now. And he's right. Because at the Jean Grey school, essentially there is a group of X-Men from the future that are now in the present. And of course, the original X-Men group and the older X-Men group, they're like, "Whoa, what the fuck is happening? Okay? What the fuck is this shit? What did we do this time? Okay? Why is there another group of X-Men in our bullshit? Okay? What are we doing?" And we get to meet the X-Men group. And surprisingly enough, there's the grandson of Charles Xavier. His name is actually Xavier. And then we also allude to the fact that they're the giant, or what Bobby refers to as the giant lump of steroid snow, which I thought was hilarious, which is actually him. And then we got a really older version of Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde's like, "Oh, remind me to moisturize," which I thought was pretty funny as well. And we got Deadpool trying to kiss up on Wolverine, being all playful. And really interesting enough, we have Molly Hayes from, The Runaways, that was written by Brian K. Vaughan, which she's in this, and she's all grown up. So she's looking badass. She's got her awesome metal arm there, and everything's pretty dope. But all of a sudden, while everyone's talking, Wolverine just starts freaking out, and then everyone gets into this huge battle, and we're like, why is Wolverine attacking this new cast of X-Men, this future X-Men? Why is everyone getting into a fight? We find out that 2 minutes ago that Jean Grey is kind of behind the scenes talking to Henry, and they're talking like, "Oh, what's happening? Who are these people? I can't read their minds. Why can't I read their minds?" And of course he's like, let's just see where this pans out. And then Jean talks to Scott, and then she's telling him the exact same thing she was telling to Hank. And then that's when she kind of decides to leave with Scott, and she activates, or I guess mind controls, Wolverine to create a distraction. And boy, that was definitely a distraction. So they take up in the X-Jet to fly away. She doesn't want to go back to her past, her present, because, it's kind of being like she already knows what's happened in the future. And I think, honestly, she's just scared. I think she's terrified of what she knows, and she doesn't want to face the future, her predetermined fate. And she ultimately doesn't want to face Charles Xavier because, there's that whole can of worms. But when Wolverine tells everyone that it isn't him, doing his actions, everyone starts to figure out, what's happening. And Wolverine says, "There's only one person who could do this to me, and that's Jean Grey." And then they notice that she's not there, and that Scott's not there. So they know who they have to go after. And all of a sudden, Rachel Grey, she comes out of nowhere, and she says, she goes up to the one person that hasn't been, mentioned, and it's that person with the skull face. And that person takes off their mask, and we figure out that it is future Jean Grey. So this is going to be very interesting. I wonder how Brian Michael Bendis is going to write his way out of this, or how he's going to explain it even. I definitely didn't see this coming. This is kind of this is a big shock, really. Looking at some preview pages for Part 3, which is X-Men issue number 5, the stuff that Brian Wood is doing, they're going after the younger versions of Jean Grey and Scott Summers. What's going to be really interesting is to see if this is probably going to happen in Uncanny X-Men, how future Scott is going to deal with, or present Scott is going to deal with future Jean Grey. That's gonna be real interesting. So overall, I actually really enjoyed All New X Men issue number 16. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. I always love Stuart Immonen's art, and the story was good. I really like the dialogue. Everyone reacts to their own characters, especially Bobby and Kitty Pryde and everyone else. And this new cast of future X Men is really cool. I like how Deadpool's on the team. I really wouldn't expect Deadpool to be on the team actually, and I did get some genuine laughs from him. And also we got Molly Hayes over there and Xavier's grandson. All really cool. I definitely enjoyed this. Pick it up. Battle of the Atom is really shaping up to be an awesome event.